This is science-backed information. That's what does it for me more than almost anything else. And you don't have to go hard every single day. In fact, that's what's making you lose. Hey, it's Marie Forleo, and welcome to another episode of the Marie Forleo podcast and Marie TV, the place to be to create a business and life you freaking love. And today it is Q&A Tuesday. And today's question comes from Sam.
My question is, first, I want to take you into that scenery of imagine yourself starting your business, right? The kind of business you've been wanting to start for 10 years, at least 10 years. And it takes a lot to start a business. But then you have the financial challenges and finally, family. You also have the family, raising kids between two houses and, making sure that they are not just well taken care of, but also that you give them the best and while still having a full-time job. So my question is, in that scene, how would you still tap into your creative energy besides all the mindfulness practices and knowing the reason why you're doing that?
For sure. So Sam, I love this question because many of us find us in a stage like this, in a scene like this. It could be when we're starting our business, and it could be when we're in some type of big life transition where all the things are happening at once. We've got either a full-time job or many, many projects. There's things happening with our family. We are responsible for other living beings, and we have our big dream that we're finally able to put energy and time into. So a couple of things. One, I know that you're a time genius student. At least that's what I believe. I believe you're a time. So I'm really happy that you're in that program because we'll get to that later, but just so you have that support. But in terms of keeping that creativity on fire, here's what has always helped me because I've been in your stage and I know I will be there. It might be a different flavor, but it happens to all of us usually repeatedly because life is very cyclical. So knowing the best time for you to create. So you may remember this from Time Genius, but I know, for example, that my mornings, if I wake up early in the morning, even if I only have an hour or 30 minutes or 45 minutes to move a project ahead, I am absolutely 100% clear that when I wake up early, I can protect that little amount of time. Sure, the dog might need me, Josh might, there's other things happening, but I'm certain that for me, if I can carve out that time every day, I can feel a sense of progress. And then if the rest of the day is chaos and a circus, then at least I know that I've had that little pocket every single day to make progress. So I'm curious for you, everyone's wired differently, right? Some people really come alive in the afternoon. Some people really come alive at night. There's no right or wrong answer. It's just really about self-awareness. So when is that zone for you, generally speaking?
So I found out that usually it comes at night. That creative energy, it really comes at night.
Great.
That's a challenge because I know you're also multi-passionate.
Yes. And
I have also a lot of passions. So it can be also, I'm being pulled in different directions. But now I know what I want to do.
Yes.
What's challenging for me is that, sometimes I cannot go to sleep. I can't go to sleep because I never did it seems like I'm not done with the day. There's always still more to add. And that's one of the challenge because that affects the next day, right? In the morning and all that.
Of course. Well, here's what I want to suggest, at least as an experiment, right? Again, you know this from Time Genius. We approach everything from being a creative scientist. So we don't have to know the answer, but we're exploring, we're experimenting to see what's going to work. I want you to imagine into what would be, whether it's an hour, 2 hours, 45 minutes, doesn't matter, a point at night where you're like, this is my dedicated, non-negotiable time towards this business that you absolutely love. And look, as a multi-passion entrepreneur, we also have to be big adults, meaning that if there are other things that are pulling on your attention, you might have to say no, not forever, but just temporarily while you can bring this beautiful business further into existence. So if there's anything else that's pulling on you, you have to protect it as sacred time. And you might have to have conversations with your family. You might have to say, hey, Dad, Dad's going to be here. This is a no disturb time unless like the house is burning down. I'm not here. So it's
Yeah,
about
yeah.
being able to set those boundaries and to ask for support, and then of course be willing to give that support back. So that's number one. Number two, I want you to set yourself up for success during that time. What do I mean? No interruptions from your phone. No interruptions possible in terms of text or email. If you need to use one of those website blockers, because as a multi-passionate person, as someone who has an ADHD brain, I know how tempting it can be,
Yeah,
right? Where you're like, oh,
yeah,
and then
yeah,
all of a sudden you're down a rabbit hole and that 45 minutes or that hour that you had dedicated is now gone, and then you feel terrible. So
yeah.
ask yourself, like, what are the things that I could do to really set myself up for success at night? Do I need to leave the home? Do I need to go to like a cafe? Do I need to go to a different physical space so there's not as many distractions? Whatever it takes for you, Sam, I want you to give yourself permission to experiment and at least try. Most of us don't do that. And we try and muscle through a really distracting environment, or you know what I mean? We're just like, oh, we give up
Yeah.
and we just think that, oh, it's never going to work for me. It's like, well, wait a minute. You're in control of a lot of that. It's number two. And then number three, I want to suggest this to you, and it's not meditation. And it's not just mindfulness, but when I have a lot of intensity in my life and there's a lot of stress happening at once, vigorous exercise, it is one of the things that I use to keep myself in equilibrium. And you asked me about keeping that creativity open and that ability to stay focused open. That's what does it for me more than almost anything else. And this is not like airy fairy woo-foo. This is science-backed information where when any of us are in fight or flight, when we are deeply entrenched in stress, we can't create. That's not how the body is built. When you're in stress, you focus and you narrow and you get really tense because that's what we're supposed to do in order to survive. But when you
Mhm.
want to create, when you want to be open and fluid, when you want to access the deepest recesses of what's possible, you can't be in fight or flight. And so vigorous exercise is one of the best ways to reset your nervous system, to open back up those creative channels, and to have the presence to be able to really kill it and crush it during that particular time and feel good too.
Yeah, yeah. That last one is a big one. For the past year and a half, I've done exercise every single day. But the thing is, in the I would say the past few weeks, I'm I found out that, when I go to sleep too late, the next day, because I keep exercise for the end of the day, and that's something that I'm trying to change. I'm trying to start the day with that.
Yes.
Because I keep it to the end,
And then you're lit
then
up.
what happens? Yeah, yeah, exactly. And what happens also is that it's not as vigorous, right?
Yes.
It's just like I want to get my exercise done because I told myself back then that I was gonna do it every day, but it's not as beneficial as if, I was giving it my all and really, go like pushing it, right?
That's right. So you've got the perfect experiment to set out with. You've got the perfect experiment to set out with, which is like, oh, okay, exercise at night isn't really working for me because I can't really go as
Yeah.
vigorously as I'd want. And it has this detrimental effect of like, I'm also wired and then I stay up way too late. So it's like, we've got some really good things to experiment with you. The exercise in the morning to do something like great music, everything, and not even worried about the physical benefits per se, but it's like the physiological, spiritual, mental benefits are even more important. So that's number one. And then number two, really experimenting with creating this sacred, non-negotiable time for yourself at night and setting yourself up to win with it. Might take a few different tries, right? You might not get it right the first time out of the gate. I certainly don't. But the
Yeah.
experimentation, and you have all the tools in Time Genius, I promise you it will help you make it through this period, which will not last forever. And not only have your creativity be really open, but for you to be really good and be present with your kids and feel great about your life while it's very, very full.
Yeah, that's what I'm looking for. I love what you said about being a creative artist. Was that the word you use? Creative artist, right?
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah,
It's like you're a time artist, and your life is this
yeah,
magnificent masterpiece that you get to create. The canvas is yours, the paint is yours, the paintbrushes are yours, and you don't have to get it perfect, but having that viewpoint that, oh, I get to try and experiment all these different things. And even if the world, people I know wake up and they're super creative in the morning, my style is at night. But you know what I need to do in the morning? I need to do my exercise in the morning. And here's the other thing too. I want to say this to you, and I don't know if it'll resonate or it might be for someone else that's watching this episode of you and I talking.
Yeah,
But there have been
definitely.
times in my life, I am such a champion of consistency. It's super, super important. And that is one of the secrets to success in everything. And when it comes to working out for some of us, especially when we've got a lot going on, there is tremendous value in rest days too. The ability for your body to just rest, the ability for your muscles to have a moment to do what they need to do so that you can actually grow stronger. And I remember I was paying attention to some articles that were about MMA fighters who had lost their edge, folks who were like at the top of their game and winning everything. And then all of a sudden they started to lose, right? Started just getting knocked out. And they really like messed with their minds, and they went to better performance coaches. And the performance coach said, the reason that you're losing, you're overtraining. You're pushing yourself too hard. You don't understand. You don't have to go hard every single day. In fact, that's what's making you lose. And it totally messed with the guy's mind because, again, like many of us, it's like, if you don't go hard every day, you know what I mean? You're not committed. And I've certainly been there too.
Yeah.
And so there's times in our life where it's like, just to have that as a possibility for you to go, oh, can I really set up my workouts where there are rest days? Because so much happens, not even physiologically, but mentally and emotionally, to give ourselves a little bit of a chance to kind of step back, to have things marinate, to have our unconscious do its work, and to have our body rest and heal so that we can go back and really hit it hard. So if that's helpful for you, awesome. If not, don't worry about it.
Yeah, definitely. It's directed to me. I know a lot of people can resonate with. I think, some people are watching right now and they might be laughing because they know me and also they know themselves, and
Yes.
I think a lot of people suffer from that. I'm one of them. And so I want to ask you, this is something like, it's not the first time that I hear that, like, and that it's something like we know a lot of things and a lot of times we don't implement what we know, right?
Totally.
And
That's us
so
human beings, all of
what
us.
would you say to, yeah. So what would you say to me and also to the people that are, they know that advice of, they need the rest because if
Yes,
not, one of the, like at some point they're gonna hit a wall, right? What
that's
would you say
correct.
to us that know that, but we just keep going because we're so passionate and we
And
can't
we're so
stop,
conditioned. Let's face it, we're conditioned and we've been conditioned
Yeah.
to somewhat punish ourselves. No pain, no gain. I grew up with a
Exactly.
lot of that messaging, you know what I mean? And again, everything has its
Yeah.
place, but at different stages and seasons of life, it's important to question our conditioning. So here's what I would say to you and to anyone again, and I'm speaking to the choir here because I understand that feeling very well. And I've been at many stages of life like, no, I cannot miss a workout. I cannot miss a workout. And then I punish myself and, creates injury and stuff like that. So here's a great quote. It's not my quote, but I heard it and it really made a difference for me. So rest is not the reward for high performance. It's the prerequisite to high performance. And I was like,
Mm.
boom. Because I have certainly used rest in the past as a reward. Like, oh, when I get through this, then I'll be able to rest for a minute. If I push a little bit harder, then I'll be able to take 5 minutes and just lay down. And it's like, no, you can actually look up some of the studies too. If you Google about, again, some fighters and some athletes, quite frankly, that started to lose their edge. And it was because it was
Yeah.
overtraining. So that's not just like a sound good or feel good thing. There's actually some solid
Yeah.
science to back it up.
Yeah, when I was in high school, I was playing basketball in a sports study program, and so I've experienced that. Like at the end of a tournament, we've been the whole weekend we've been playing ball, and then at the end, it's just we need rest, right? Because the last game is not always, except if you're in the finals. Usually, it's not the one that we have the most energy, right?
That's
And we
right.
need that to build our business and to take care of our families as well.
That's right. Sam, you're awesome. Thank you so much for a beautiful question. I hope that this was helpful, and I hope you keep me posted on your creative experiment being the artist of your life. We'll be here to support you.
Yes, thank you so much. It was a pleasure, and I really appreciate that was a blessing.
Thank you, Sam. Hey, did you enjoy that episode? If so, do me a favor and hit the subscribe button right now. It'll make sure that you never miss an episode coming up. And more importantly, it helps us reach more incredible people just like you. So subscribe now, and thank you so much. If you enjoyed that video, keep listening because I've got more tips coming up for you right now. Today's cue is from a woman named Angela, and Angela writes, "Hi Marie, I love your videos so much and always get so inspired. Here's my cue. I have work that pays my bills, and then there's all this other work I want to do that never seems to get done. When my clients need me, I drop everything to get that work done because it's my job, but then everything else suffers. For example, I have a blog, but I'm not consistent. I want to write a novel and I want to volunteer, but at the end of the day, I never have enough energy to get to the things that I dream about. Every night when I go to bed, I always think, tomorrow will be the day that I start blank, but it never happens. Any ideas to help? Thanks, Angela." Angela, you are so not alone. Millions of people have a secret or not so secret, unlived creative life that feels just out of their grasp. Now, the good news here is that you can break this pattern and make all of your dreams come true. So there's a lot to say on this topic, but today I want to focus on one simple strategy that will crack this whole thing wide open for you. And I think my friend Stephen Pressfield said it best when he said, "I'm keenly aware of the principle of priority, which states, A, you must know the difference between what's urgent and what's important, and B, you must do what's important first. What's important is the work." This is the whole damn thing, Ange. This is the thing that so many people miss, and it kills them. So many things in life can feel urgent, but they're not. So a few examples: checking email, answering calls or texts, even from clients, and social media. Urgent things demand our attention now, and they can get really addictive because we all want to feel wanted. Now, many of us also like a little hit of drama and adrenaline, which email and social and text and things like that happily deliver. And finally, things that are urgent often relate to other people's goals, not our own. But important things are different. Important things are quiet. There's no alarms, there's no drama. Important things often relate to our own goals and dreams, not other people. And unfortunately, it requires us to be self-starters, and important things are often easy to blow off.
Hey Marie, are we still hanging out today, or?
She's busy. Sorry.
Okay, I'll hit you up tomorrow, see where you're at.
We'll see. We'll see about that. Yeah. We have stuff to do. The first order of business, let's check Twitter. Cool, right? Yeah.
Now, Angela, I know you got clients to attend to and work that pays the bills, and sometimes, yes, that is urgent. However, you do have enough time to create your art and reach your goals as long as you work on what's important first and save what's urgent for a little bit later. Here's how to do this now. Before you get going each day, I want you to take a look at your to-do list, and you're going to mark each task with either an I or a U. I is for important and U is for urgent. And then work on all the I stuff first and save the U stuff till later. Now you got to remember, the urgent stuff is always going to get done because it has to, but this method ensures that your important tasks don't fall to the wayside. And unless somebody is seriously hurt or your house is on fire, if something urgent tries to take your attention, ignore it until your important work is done for the day. Did you enjoy that one? Well, don't stop watching because I got even more coming up right now. If you can't seem to get motivated because your hard work never pays off, this episode is for you. Today's question comes from Chris, and he writes, "Hey Marie, I'm 19 years old, and here's my dilemma. I have a massive lack of motivation to do anything or really live my life. I look deep within myself for answers and see that I've always felt no matter what I attempt to do, my hard work never, in all caps, pays off. School, volleyball, work, even friendships, it never seems to be enough. I now realize hard work isn't enough, so I want to know, what is? What can I do to remotivate myself and make my hard work smart work? How can I make my efforts count so I can live a meaningful, fulfilling life? Thank you for everything that you do. The beauty in your soul transcends my small computer screen, and no amount of words will ever be enough for me to express my appreciation to you. With love, Chris." Aww. Chris, I adore you, and not just for that really sweet and poetic thing you just shared with me. I gotta tell you, it is beyond awesome that you are so self-aware enough to really ask these important questions at this point in your life. While there's so much we could talk about today, I want to focus on one important shift that you can make that if you really do it, Chris, and you make it a habit, it can change everything. First, you will instantly start to experience more of that meaning and fulfillment that you've been craving. Second, that motivation and excitement for life, that's going to come flooding back to you. And third, this approach will give you the best possible chance of ensuring that your hard work will actually pay off. Now, while it can't guarantee results, because honestly, nothing can, it does give you the best possible chance of creating them. Here's the habit. If you want lasting motivation, you've got to focus on the action itself, not the outcome. Now, it doesn't matter whether this is about school or work or sports or relationships. Moving forward, Chris, here's what you got to do. You have to consciously shift your attention to the action you're taking instead of the outcome or the result that you're trying to achieve. In other words, start giving your full attention to the present moment, to the actual process itself, not the end goal. It's a practice that I call making isness your business, which we talk about in more detail in this video over here. This is both a spiritually satisfying way to approach your life, and it'll give you the best chance to get that payoff that you're looking for. In fact, there is some research to back this up. It shows that this one habit can help you stay genuinely motivated and experience that meaning and fulfillment that you're lacking right now. Here's a quick summary of the science. Two researchers, Fishbach and Choi from the University of Chicago and Korea Business School, conducted a study with over 100 students working out at the gym. They divided the students up, and one group was told to describe and focus on their end goal, like losing weight. The other group was told to describe and focus on the process itself, warming up, stretching, running on the treadmill. Both groups were told to keep that same focus throughout their entire workout. Now check out the result. The end goal focus group actually ran for less time than the process focus group, 34 minutes versus 43 minutes. And this is what's relevant to you, Chris. The goal group reported that the workout felt like more of an effort compared to the process group, who found the experience itself more enjoyable. Then they repeated this process with things like doing origami and flossing your teeth, and the results were consistent.
Wash, how, perfect, well. I'm really enjoying the feeling of flossing my teeth.
Winner, most likely to floss for life.
The bottom line, if what you're looking for is lasting motivation, meaning, and fulfillment, you have got to focus your attention on the actions you're taking, not the end goal. You know, high performance athletes and sports psychologists, they have known about this and they've practiced it for eons, right? Once you're clear on your goal, they all talk about the fact that if you really want to win, you have to train yourself to engage fully in the present moment and really get into that state of flow. So this is your mission, Chris, if you choose to accept it. It'll make a tremendous difference in both how you feel and what you achieve for the rest of your life. Now, 2 more quick notes before we wrap up. Number 1, you got to commit to being a lifelong learner and ask for feedback from people that you trust and respect. Because who knows, Chris? I mean, maybe there is stuff that you're doing that you could actually improve. For example, you might want to ask your soccer coach if he or she has any feedback for you that can help your performance on the field. There is always another level of mastery to reach in any area of life. So be proactive and get the feedback that you need to keep on growing. Number 2, whenever you feel down and demotivated, I want you to do this. You got to help somebody else. Just take a look around and ask yourself, who might need a little encouragement or some support or some appreciation? I mean, is it a family member or a friend or someone in your community? It doesn't have to be some huge monumental act, just something simple from your heart, and you've got a big one. I mean, one of the best ways to stay rooted in your own happiness is to help someone else experience their own. So can you relate to what Chris has been feeling lately? Like you're working really hard and yet it never seems to pay off? Do you have any personal habits that help you stay in that state of present moment flow in your own life? I want to hear from you. So the best conversations happen after the episode over at marieforleo.com. So go on over there and leave a comment now. Once you're there, be sure to subscribe to our email list and become an MF Insider. You'll get instant access to a powerful training called How to Get Anything You Want, and you'll get exclusive content, special giveaways, and personal updates from me that I just don't share anywhere else.